Oh, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. Hello, I'm Catherine Oster, and I have Marcy with me this week. She is my special guest, and her business is called MJCS After Dark. Now, before I hand the floor over to Marcy, I want to chat with you guys a little bit about who she is to me and how she created this space for me to feel sexy and empowered and confident in my body as it is right now. So, I'm going to tell you a story. So, gosh, it was probably like last spring, summer, maybe. A friend of mine, she started chatting with me about this experience that she had with Marcy, her experience, and how it just opened her up so much. And I could just tell in her energy in talking with her. And I work with her in riding lessons, actually. Um, I could tell in how she rode her horse, in how she presented herself, she started to be different. And then, and she didn't tell me right away about Marcy and how her experience with Marcy went for her, but I could just sense this difference about her. She felt so confident and strong and like kind of sassy. And I could like, and it changed actually how she rode her horse. It changed how she interacted with people. And I'm like, this is really cool. And then afterwards, she told me what it was. Hey, mom, good morning. She told me about Marcy and how Marcy is a boudoir photographer and how she had a session with her and it was the most amazing magical experience that she had ever had. And she's just like, oh my God, Catherine, you need to check this out. And it took me a few months, which is probably, it seemed really slow to me because I often choose things pretty fast, but that's probably pretty normal. And anyway, sometimes maybe people sit on things for like a year or more before they choose it. But I started creeping Marcy on Facebook and Instagram. Hi, Karen. Good morning. And her website and her Facebook page. And I was looking like the images of these women that she had on her website, her Facebook page, her Instagram. I was like, wow, like, damn, could that really be me? Like, could I actually show up in that capacity? And I started to get really curious about that. And then one day it just pinged me. It was like the end of last summer. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to choose this. And I kind of, my justification for my choice was also like, I have a really hard time buying my husband Christmas gifts after 24 years of being together. And I'm like, this could really like change our relationship and kind of blow his mind. And this could be a gift that he would never expect, right? So that was kind of my motivation behind it, but I didn't even realize what it would change for me. So anyway, I booked it, sent the deposit, filled out a questionnaire, did kind of those things, and then I had to sit and wait for a few months before she had availability. And that sitting and waiting, I was like kind of like worrying about how it was going to go and what I was going to wear, like what this was going to look like. And then I'm like, stop it, Catherine. Like, just relax. It'll be fine. Anyway, I show up for my session and Marcy is so inviting. And I've never met her before, which actually probably makes it a little more comfortable for me anyway. And we just started chatting. And as she, gets your makeup and everything ready for the session. And then like, she really invited me to show up. We were chatting about this a little bit before the live. She'll tell this more too, but she really invited me to show up like as who I am, like really with not really many clothes on. Like really, you don't just strip away the physical look of yourself. You strip away like energetically. And it's this really safe, inviting environment. Hey, Steph, good morning. And it changed me forever. And I knew in the moment, but now looking back, like, and I know that it's not maybe this change experience for everybody. because it's what the person is really willing to choose in the session. But I look back at those pictures. So she also does this really cool thing where she'll print you out, hey, Annalise, a little like on the spot photo for you to take home. And I like would look at it and I'm like, oh my God, that's me? Like, damn. and so yeah, it was such an amazing experience. And I got my book. You get to pick out pictures that you want. You know, there's all different packages you can choose. I picked up my book and it came in the mail. Now, I don't think it came in time. It didn't come in time for Christmas, but on Christmas Day, I wrapped up Travis's picture and I'm like, so I did this thing. I think maybe, I don't know that I gave it to him face to face. I think I kind of like left it out on the bed and he just kind of discovered it. And then he's like, what is this? And I'm like, oh yeah, so I did this thing and there's more coming for your Christmas present, but it's not going to be here in time for Christmas. And same thing with the book. Like I felt like I didn't want to be there when he looked at it for the first time. I really wanted it to be just him to experience it. And so I remember I did the same thing with the book. I didn't tell him when it came. I was going away to teach writing lessons, and then the kids were also going to my mom's for the day. So he had kind of had the house to himself. So I knew that like the kids weren't going to come into my room and accidentally look at the book because that might be a little uncomfortable. Left it out on the bed for him, and he was like, later on, I'm like, so did you get the thing on the bed? And he's like, I did, with some emojis after. And I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway, so I wanted to introduce all of you to Marcy and allow you to dip into however you'd like to experience her, whether that is checking out her website, her Facebook page, her Instagram, because even just that and looking at the photos that she has posted of the women that she has captured, that has been fully consented. I didn't sign a full release to Marcy. I was comfortable with like her using pictures where you couldn't tell it was me. So not directly. Anyway, it's just amazing. So Marcy, you're going to chat now. And I just, wherever you want to start.
You're so close to signing a full release. It's not even funny.
I know. Probably the next time.
I can feel it. I'm like, you're almost there. No, like that's the first time I ever heard that as well from you. So that's very cool. I love hearing people's experiences. And we were chatting about that before, about how hearing about your friend and her experience. I also didn't know that. I didn't know how profound the experience was for her. I mean, kind of after, you know, where a lot of times after we're done a reveal, after we, you know, I get to reveal your images to you and you get to pick your favorites and all those things. If you're not local, we don't really meet up again. So a lot of times I'll just mail your product to you and then that's it. So hearing kind of the aftermath is very cool and very rewarding. Especially when it's a profound experience. It kind of just makes my why just solidified about why I like to do this. So
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it's really awesome.
So I want to just start out, Marcy. I would like you to share like how you stumbled upon creating this boudoir photography business. Like how did photography even start for you?
Okay, so photography started for me long before I knew photography could be a career. So when I was a kid, I was always the one with like the disposable camera at parties. My parents bought me a camera. I mean, I'm old, so I mean, it wasn't that old. A camera. And part of the fun with those cameras was like waiting for the negatives to get, you know, so you could see, and you're like, oh, there's only 3 good ones out of this whole film, right? So that's kind of where it happened. But that, me loving photography as, you know, a child or a teen, that never, I mean, when I was in school, you could be a welder, a dentist, or a hairdresser. Like there was no, or a nurse. And so what did I become was a nurse, right? Like you didn't have options. There wasn't, you know, it wasn't the days of the digital era where literally you could be whatever you want right now, right? It's so, you could back then too, but it just wasn't as available, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, photography wasn't something you could pursue. Like, it just wasn't, right? And then I always wanted, I had a girlfriend who had like a entry-level DSLR camera, like a nice one in my mind. And I would always play with it when she came around. So when me and my husband got married, our friends all got together, and they, instead of buying individual gifts or giving money, we would all like pile our money together and buy big gifts for our friends. There'd be like 20 people putting in money, and it would be like a thing. So they bought me a camera, and they bought my husband a smoker.
Oh.
And yeah, so I got this camera, and I had it for probably, I'd say, a year and a bit before I even really played with it. Like, I just didn't know. And then my son, he turned 6 months, and I wanted a 6-month sitter session, but being on maternity leave, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And then I would want 1-year photos. So I'm like, I can't afford this every 6 months to just,
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I got this camera that's nice, and I'm half-ass creative, so I'll just do it myself, right? Like, delusional confidence.
I just want to pause for a moment. I love how money can be this motivator for you, for people to step into more. Like, you didn't get the money.
I think it's more like cheapness and
but that actually catalyzed this creation for you. That's so cool. I just had to
actually, totally true. So fast forward, I took these photos, and like super cute, actually, like not bad, right?
Yeah.
And then my best friend was getting married, and she's like, will you do boudoir photos for me? And I was like, oh, absolutely. Like, for sure. Like, delusional confidence. Like, my first session was a boudoir session. Don't do that.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So I did these outdoor photos for her, and like, I should show you. I should pull them up, because like, wow. Okay. Like, even now, like, shot on a kit lens with an entry-level camera on auto. Like, I didn't know how to work my camera, and no editing software. And they're like, okay.
Wow. So you had this knack, this ability that you're just starting to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just kind of evolved from there. Like, people kept asking me to take their photos, engagements, maternities, whatever. And I just said yes to everything. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, if people are going to be wanting to pay me for this, I better start to learn it. So I've taken courses, and then it, upgraded my gear, took the courses, got some software, and yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And I never set out to be a photographer. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a photographer. I'm going to specialize in boudoir, and I'm going to change people's lives. Like, that wasn't ever a thing. I guess I essentially created that.
Yeah.
Or, maybe it was God guiding me without me even being fully aware, right? Like, that's
the delusional confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that didn't come from me. That came from somewhere else, so yeah, it was pretty cool. And then it would have been about 4 years ago. Well, okay, so after I shot a couple of boudoir, well, fast forward, I know I talked forever. I shot a couple of boudoir. They were all outdoors. I shot a couple indoors. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. Knew how to photograph, didn't know how to do boudoir. And so I did a workshop, like a big workshop. And one of my only questions, because I stopped doing boudoir, because I was like, ooh, this is like more than just taking pics. Like, you can make or break a person doing this. And I wasn't ready for that.
Wow.
So I went to this workshop, and one of my only questions was how do I make someone feel confident in their own skin when I don't feel confident in mine? And it was like, because, and I mean, I did it in the beginning too. I was not perfect off the hop. You will project your insecurities onto other people.
Yeah.
So what I am insecure about might not be what you're insecure about, right? And so, but for me to be like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't put her in this position, or I can't show this because I don't like it on myself. And then,
Wow. But what
yeah,
if that was her thing and then you wouldn't be able to invite her to that because you weren't willing? Oh my
yeah,
God. Wow.
yeah, yeah. So it was a lot of, I mean, it was a lot of work
Self. Yeah.
in learning how to speak to people, how to make people comfortable, how to instill confidence in others, and like, but a lot of it was doing the internal work on myself to be like, okay, I don't like my stomach.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's fine. You don't have to like it, but you can't hate it either. And that's what
Yes.
I did the work. And it's not as much, I always tell my clients, as much as I want this experience to be profound for you and I want this to be that pivotal moment to change your life, like you and your friend, like I feel so honored for that. But it might not be.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a step in the right direction and it's going to help you see yourself how we see, how other people see you, right? Because you only ever see yourself from straight on, you know, your peripheral vision or that crappy photo your daughter or husband took of you, right? Like
Right.
you don't actually look like that. And so seeing yourself like that, it can really affect your confidence. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to see yourself at different angles and in different eyes, right? And be like, oh, I'm not a troll. Cool. Right? I get
Yes.
it.
Yes. And how like Marcy, she's so like it's amazing what she can pull out of you, like what she was able to like pull out of me to show up as. And also like how to position my body, like to make it look like it was so cool. She has just this ability for that so you can start to see different sides of yourself and yeah, like how yeah, yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
So when did you switch doing you just totally do boudoir now? You don't even do really weddings or anything else anymore, right?
Yeah. So it would have been during the pandemic. So like 20.
Right, 2020, March 2020, I think is when it started.
Yeah. So I'll just be straight up and honest. I opted not to get the vaccine.
Mhm.
And so as a nurse, I was
Right,
placed on
yes,
an unpaid leave of absence, you know,
yeah.
against my will, basically. I couldn't apply for EI. I couldn't do anything. And so I decided to open a boudoir studio because I needed to feed my family.
Again, money catalyzed you to step into further
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah. And it was actually such a blessing because it allowed me to let go. I mean, I didn't let go of my nursing fully, but it allowed me to realize that, like, okay, I am disposable here.
Yeah.
This is my passion, and I can do this. I stopped doing weddings and everything simply because my kids are young and it ate up all my weekends. It ate up my summers. Um, you know, it wasn't so much the wedding days, but it was like the aftermath of going through thousands of photos and it was just kind of taxing. It was
Yeah.
exhausting. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I wanted to do more. And so with boudoir, how I used to operate was I used to just do on marathon basis only. So it would be multiple girls in a day, you know, 30-minute, 45-minute sessions, and we would just kind of rotate, right? Which is a great way for the client to experience it in like a small dose if that's all they're interested in.
Yeah.
But I felt like I wanted to give more of myself to my clients. So now I shoot one client a day.
Yeah.
So your day, if you're late, if you want to grab a coffee in between, if you want to, cool. I'm here. I am here for you. I am here all day. We can take as long as we need. If you want to sit and have a moment and cry or laugh or joke or whatever, like it's your day. We can do whatever you want in your time. So that's the way I changed it. And I was like, I wanted it to be more than just a couple sexy pics. Right?
More than surface level. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not just surface level. Like this is beneath the surface of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like to build a relationship with my clients and really give them an experience and not make them feel like a paycheck or like they're just like cattle coming in and out of the door. Like that's not what it is for me. So I don't want to be like that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marcy, for jumping on. So I'm just going to let this loose. I invited Marcy to step out of her comfort zone by inviting her to do this live. I think this is probably her first Facebook Live video.
It totally is. Like, don't mind my office. I did not prepare for it. This is real. I'm real. I like it to be real. We are not, there's no smoke and mirrors.
No.
It's all real here.
So I'm going to include all of her information with this video, you guys. If you want to check out her website, check out her Facebook page, her Instagram, all the links will be there. And I was actually just scrolling her website again this morning, and I saw one of the pictures of myself on her website, and I felt so honored and excited that she chose that one. And she probably chose it from the energy because anyway, so that's just my little, if you want to go and check out her website and maybe you will pick out the one that is me and then we'll go from there. That's my uncomfortable request.
Totally posting one with your face, man. I'm doing it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't post it.
Anyway, thank you again so much, Marcy. And everybody else, have an amazing day. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us live. And to those of you listening in the future, until next week, coffee cheers.